Smooth. Q. Start with it. Awesome. Now it's possible. There's a bit slow, so Hello everyone. Let me know if you can actually hear me. I should be audible. Sorry for the pretty long setup. Cool, amazing. So hi, my name's Amy, and so I'm working on the FMS for the Dash 8 Q400s from FlyJSim. But today's been a long day, so what I thought could be fun is actually try and do a flight in it. That'll also allow me to test some of the stuff that I've been coding in autopilot. So yeah, we're gonna do a pretty short flight. We're flying from Munich to Innsbruck. The reason I wanted to fly to Innsbruck is there's a pretty fun circling approach that I've been wanting to actually practice. We're gonna fly during the day just because the visual procedures, that's probably better. But yeah, so on the ground in Munich. Let's get loaded. Actually, first of all, well, the APU is actually already running, so that's good. Let's get loaded. So we're gonna go here, select load. So I've got a SimBrief flight plan somewhere. If I can actually find it. Hello, not Spookbean. Yeah, that EFB looks nice. Jack's been working on it quite a lot. So let me get my flight plan up. Let's see, I'll be in flights. Yeah, I know about Alaskan island hopping. I've done it a lot in the 7300s, the 737-200s. But I wanted to do, like, this is an approach I've been meaning to actually try for a long time. So, in case we need to have a zero fuel weight of 24.7 tons. So we're gonna set that here. 24.7. There we go. And we need 2.2 tons of fuel. So, I'm gonna go here. Okay. Load summary. Confirm load and start loading, and we'll do, while they do that, let's do the FMS, shall we? So, because crossfill is not implemented yet, we're just going to work with one FMS today. Do not want to spend the time programming both. So we're going to accept a present position, and then flight plan. So our flight plan takes us from here to, so in Munich, I don't actually have Hager's box. I don't actually have the METAR in Munich, so let's have a look. Well, that looks pretty nice. So we'll just take the departure that SimBrief assigned us and not worry about it too much. We're not online anyway, so that's the 08 right, and then it's the Turbo 6 Echo. So number 17 departure. There's no transition, so yeah, like that. There we are. And then after that, we need to take the Yankee 107 Airways. So we're going to go in the list page, Airways, number 1, and we take that all the way to Rattenberg NDB, which is number 5. So we can set that here. And then that'll take us to... if I click the wrong buttons, that's not going to work. And that takes us to Innsbruck. And then there we'll fly... So we're actually landing 08, so we're going to put that in there. But we're going to be flying, so there's no arrival in this case. We just go directly onto the localizer localizer 26. And I need to check which one of these we need to do. That's interesting. Anyone know the difference between the localizer Romeo and localizer 26? Number 4, you say? Okay, well, let's go with that, and if it doesn't work, I shall blame you. Only joking, obviously. So let's just have a look at our flight plan. There's a no link after that. That is not right, so that's something I'll need to check. Because we're going straight there anyway, so hang on, that's number 10, so we're gonna squash this to number 10. There we go. Okay, Adwig, which is fine, and then we start the localizer DME26 approach, Adwig FF Foxtrot 26 log 17. Okay. So virtual BD pallets. The reason why is because we're going to fly the localizer. I wonder, do I have a Avitab installed? I do not. We're going to fly the localizer 26 into the airport and then do a circling approach to runway 08. Oh, nice. Thanks, V55 FDA. Hey, Captain Crash. Yeah, so the virtual BD pilot, I am not at all trained in real life, but the way a circling works, right, is that you fly the approach to another runway, and then at circling minima, you break out, do your visual maneuvering to then land on another runway. This is what we're going to do here. I might actually try to get the charts up on the screen, just because it's... get this on its own window. So if we go here and go approach. So this is right, so this is the low visibility thing, which is not what we're flying. We're going to fly the log DME east. Right, so we're flying this approach, which is an approach onto 26. And what you do is, in this one, you then, so there's a special circling procedure here, which is this one. When we reach 4.2 DME out of Oscar Echo Victor, we'll break out on heading 230, and then essentially it's a visual maneuver. You have to follow the power lines, then turn around once you pass 3.5 DME and you're essentially abeamed as a church, so that we can actually see. So we're gonna play around with that. Right, how are we doing on loading? Packs are boarding, bags are loading, and we're fueled. Okay, so we've got a bit of time. So what we can do... What time is it? It's 8:48 local, according to the sim. So we can go here and put that. So 8:48, let's say we'll be ready in... let's say we're already at 9:10. Put this in. And that gives us an idea of... our thing. That seems very well. It's because so the UNS is a pretty dumb FMS. Hey Brady, hey Kim. It's a pretty dumb FMS in the sense that it doesn't do performance like a Boeing FMS or an Airbus FMS would do, right? What you would be used to, where it actually tries to calculate based on what it knows of the performance of the plane. It tries to calculate properly what altitudes you're going to be everywhere. It calculates your speeds, your climb angles, and all that. The UNS is dumb compared to that. So when you're on the ground, the only thing it knows is what you put in here. So you have like an average fuel flow that you can just type in, and you've got an average or a cruise true airspeed that you can type in here. That's it. So right now the reason it's saying, oh, that's a 16-minute flight is because it assumes that we're going to fly the whole way through at 240 knots true, which is not the case, right? You've got the departure, you've got the approach and everything, but for now that's what it assumes. So it's not very clever when it comes to these things. Right, we're going to go here, we're going to set ourselves up for the departure. We're still in the middle of boarding, so we're fine with this. Actually, let's give the fuel page a test. I've not worked on this in a long time, so it's probably not very accurate at the moment. It needs quite a lot of care, but let's see if we can get it. So 67 passengers. It's a bit high actually. So what SimBrief actually tells me is that we have a zero fuel weight of 24730. Okay, and fuel on board, we've asked for 2,200, gross weight of 26.9. Yeah, that works about right for what I have in SimBrief. These are not working yet. They're just dummy fields you can put stuff in, but it won't help the calculations, so we'll leave them for now. Okay, we're in FMS mode, and we are still boarding. Amazing. Well, we're going to be waiting then. I don't actually have a checklist for this, although actually. Recirculation fan, is it on? Yes. On external checks, we'll assume is completed. Normal. Operation and briefing are complete. Well, briefing not so much, so let's actually try and brief ourselves a little bit. I'm just gonna... Let's bring up the charts again. I made the mistake of trying to use Streamlab, and it is disgusting in terms of performance. So apologies if there's a bit of stuttering. Once we get rid of Safari for the charts, hopefully we'll be a bit better. But Ash MC spec, yes, that's the new Q4XP. It's in development. I'm in charge of programming the FMS, so that's why I'm using it right now. Okay, so we're gonna fly from runway 08 right. So this one, we're gonna fly the Turbo 6 Echo. So it's direct to Munich, Mike Sierra Whiskey. We can follow that. Actually, no, it is not. Well, at least that's not how it's coded. So it's gonna be... Am I looking at the right one? So actually, we can do something here, which is go look at the clearance format. Yep, so 08 right, Turbo 6 Echo. So that looks right, but it's coded quite differently apparently in the FMS, but no matter. Anyway, so we've got this, and then we've got... so if we go back here, got direct to Delta Mag 081, which I'm guessing is here. It's interesting that... and then that's jet only as well, so we're not very... So let's see if there's a better... I'm looking at arrivals, which is not going to be helpful. Ah, that's why, because I loaded the 6 Echo and not the 8 Echo. Well, either way, we'll assume that we're considered jet aircraft. That's not true, but that's fine. So direct to Delta Mag 081, which we have, then Alonu, then Lacol and Turbo, so we're fine with that. We'll be taking off run rate 08 right. We'll do the performance at the end because we don't have the calculator yet. Oh, you said there's another routing. Tool C3 Alpha. Does that get us to Rattenberg NDB though? So let's pin this one. Then if we go here, Lowy charts. Star. Oh, that does get us to Rattenberg. Perfect. We'll fly that then. And then approach. Well, this as well. Okay. Alright, so let's change the routing then. So what we can do right here, right, so the end of our SID is here, so after that we'll just go Tulsi, and then let's do menu arrive.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Tulsi 3 Alpha. And I made a mistake. Number 4, just re-enter all of this. Rottenberg. Okay, so let's check all of this. Tulsi, RTT, Adweg. Yep, that's all looking fine. Okay, we don't give out release dates because it's something that's hard to estimate, and then when you give them and then you can't meet them for any reason, everyone just ends up unhappy, including us. So we'd rather not give out the release dates and everyone have a good surprise when it actually releases. I'll just remove this for now. So we've got
okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
That is a big tug for such a small plane. I can't remember how. I think better pushback works based on the can't find my words, on the gross weights or max takeoff weight, something like that. Anyway, right, let's get ourselves ready for departure then. Checklists. We're gonna do before starts. Check circuit breakers are checked. Passengers signs are on. Emergency lights. I believe they're armed, but we should probably check. Yep, armed. Anti-skid is on. Fuel transfer and fuel quantity important. Fuel, we've got 2. That's good. That's what we need. Emergency brake and pressure. I'm bad at this. I do not know this plane well enough. So actually, it's in there, isn't it? It's the arc brake. Is it the same pressure? Hey, Pilsner. We'll assume that's check. Please do not take example on how I fly this plane. I've been flying it for a while, but without any procedures because I'm just trying things. Takeoff data. We'll have to recalculate this when we get the flaps out. Anyway, and then start approved. We'll have battery master. Yep, we're fine with this. With maximal power, so this should be off. Okay. Right, let's get a pushback then, and
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
that's a good question actually. Where do we want to go? Well, we'll just push back, do a straight pushback, because we can always flip around fairly.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Okay. Before that, we're just gonna do a last check. Anti-collision goes on. Oh, the other way. And doors is fine, fueling is fine, battery master. Yep. Anti-collision APU bleed comes off, apparently. And engines are clear for starts. Cool. Let's go. Parking brake is released.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Oh boy, my sim is not happy. Frame rate is dropping slowly, but tow to the runway. Yeah, that's a pretty good technique, isn't it? I should probably bring up a taxi chart on my iPad if I want to have like some kind of idea where we're going. Right. In the meantime, let's start number 1. Clear, shut off, let's go. Starting. 10%. 12%. Feather. And we've got light off. Okay, so I have absolutely no idea where I parked myself, so we're gonna do the good old zoom out until you can see where you are. I'm pointing 08. Okay, so we need to go right. Okay, 08 right. Oh, we've got a long taxi. Okay, so we're gonna do a single engine taxi then. That's good actually, because I wanted to demo that. We're gonna stand by. No, that needs to be. Okay. Alright, do not take example on my disgusting flying technique again. Anyway, so a taxi is going to be a left-hand turn on Oscar 2, all the way to Sierra 8, and then Sierra all the way to the start of 08 right. Yeah, FMS2 is working, but so on the Q400s, the FMSs are not synced. In that
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
you put in a route on one side, it doesn't automatically
Disconnecting tow.
fill in the
Stand
route on the
by.
other side. There's a cross-fill function, but I've not implemented it yet, and keeping the thing in sync is just enough work that it's not worth it. Actually, we can try if y'all really want. We're gonna set that to on. Right, so in that case, that means we need to go in here and do flight plan, menu, departs, runway 08 right, 6 echo, Tulsi, Lowy.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Oh, it's on the next page, isn't it? Yep. Number 8. And we're gonna do this, and then that'll be the lock DME26 Rattenberg transition. There we go. But so right now I've put in the crossfill will be there by the time we release. We're not releasing without crossfill. That's an important part of this piece of crap that is this FMS. But that means that if I do a direct on one side, it won't do the direct on the other side. You have to do the direct together. Anyway, we've got engine number 1 is started, so we're going to put it in max, get flaps 5 out. Lead number 1 is on. We can turn on the pitot heater and warm up the windows. And we're ready to go. So, just checking. That's Whiskey 2, so I'm going to make sure we're on the right place. Yep, so we're going to go right on Oscar 2. And then all the way to the back of runway 8. So we're going to set this actually to its own source. And let me see if I can get the SID on my tablet as well. Okay, what's the top altitude for this? 70, so we're gonna set that. Yeah, and we're gonna cheat for the METAR because I don't know where I put it. And there we go. That's 1020 on the Barrow. Okay, here we go. Brakes are off. Calculate this. And we're on our way. Yeah, the sounds are gorgeous. Daniela did them for us, and they're incredible. Anyway, I'm taxiing all over the place. Also, a single engine taxi, not the best idea when you're close to maximum takeoff weight, is it? Oh well. I'll be a bit sluggish on the starts, but we'll be fine. Not even checked actually what the cruise level is according to SimBrief. 130. Ah, I cannot taxi straight. Why is it yelling to me about balance? Oh, because I've got one fuel pump open but not the other one, and I'm cross-filling. That's amazing. Well done, Amy. So we're gonna let it do like rebalance itself. Right, and we'll start the second engine once we're in that straight. It's pretty easy from there. Okay, because I can kind of keep track of where we're going just with the pedals. Right, select number 2. Starts. NH over 12%. Start feather. Ha! Yeah, it's very, very low to the ground, isn't it? Oh, hey, thank you, Justin. That's very nice. So it's a beep. What is it not happy about? This plane likes to beep at you for literally everything. Let's keep an eye on this as well, just to make sure we don't actually start transferring too much fuel the other way. Okay, so we've got a good start on engine number 2. What we'll do is we won't actually unfeather it until later. It's what Flybe used to do a lot. You'd taxi to the runway with one engine feathered and the other one in disc, which I've always found a bit strange. But so we're gonna go around nav and outsail, because you need to have outsail enabled for everything. Don't you love gateway scenery that has, I guess, jump ramps for the cars? That's always nice. I'm gonna feather this. Parachutes not provided. Yeah, that could be an interesting concept. So what I love about prop planes is that you can taxi pretty much the entire way without really touching your brakes. If you manage it well, the beta mode is enough to... Yeah, Daniela's done an amazing job with the sounds, hasn't she? And we're gonna close the transfer valve in a second to make sure we don't get the plane out of balance the other way around. There we go. Okay. Making sure we've got everything ready. Cool. End top, we could probably do reduced takeoff power takeoff actually, because we've got space here, so let's do this. Despite the fact that we're like really heavy, but we should be fine. Famous last words. Oh, that's amazing. Thanks, P55. That's really cool, having done your pilot training in Austria. That must be a gorgeous place to fly. I don't know if the sounds are mostly done. I think so. I think Daniela still is working on some of the switches, some kind of like ambience thing. But overall, I think they're getting there, if not there already. We're gonna go nav page. God, this is a long taxi. We could have done an intersection departure actually, but oh well. What we'll do is once we're in the air, I'll take a break for 5 minutes while the plane is in autopilot to go make some tea, and then I'll be back. The boots in operational? I don't know, that's a question for Jack actually. I've not touched them, but yeah. Just realizing, I think I'm going to the wrong runway. It's quite possible. No, it was just because, yep, that's the thing I still have to fix in the FMS. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, no, it's just a bug in the FMS. It's been on my to-do list to fix for a while now. It's using the airport reference point as a starting point instead of the runway. It's a simple fix, but I've been working on other stuff for a while and I just haven't gotten there. Which is bad. I should have done this a while back now, but... Okay, we're actually there. Okay. So we're gonna do before... there's enough to start the thing. You know what? We're gonna wing it because I know roughly what to do. Bleeds are on. This is on min. Takeoff power is selected. Turn here. Flight control guidance panel. We're in LNAV. Go around. Alt cell and 7000, which is a climb clearance on that SID. Gas lock is off. Controls are free. Spoilers to flight modes. And these strobes are on. And we are eventually cleared for takeoff. Auto feather is armed. And here we go. Takeoff power is set, airspeed is alive. 80 knots. One rotates. And positive rate gear up. So you can see the conditional waypoints actually moving on the MFD. That's how the UNS works. It just recalculates where the point is going to be based on how you're flying right now, because like we said earlier, right, it doesn't have these things as part of that kind of performance calculation like a Boeing would, for example. Okay, that's our acceleration altitude, so we're going to lower the nose slightly and we're going to go into IS modes 185. Try and fly straight, that would be a great idea, wouldn't it? Autopilot on just because it's quite a workload. So flaps up, props 900, disarm auto feather, disarm these things, and bleed normal, and the APU should be off. That's my bad. And here we go, we're on our way. V55, can you make the FMT so intelligent that it realizes when you're on a runway and don't use this threshold at start? Well, so what the FMS does, right, in real life, is that when you're on the grounds, it will use the starting point as the runway reference point that's in the database, and then what it does is it detects when you leave the ground, and then it uses that point, that location when you left the ground, as essentially your originating point for the flight plan. So that's what this will do, because I'm not going to make it do things that the real life one doesn't do. But yeah. So that's our altitude alerts. Are we in a cloud? Yeah, we were. Yeah. So let's see how... What we'll do is we'll just keep climbing, because we might as well just stay in IS mode. 190 will do, and we're gonna put in our cruise level. Altcell is armed, and standard barrow. There we go. Yeah, Jack, that altitude alert definitely feels weird initially. It's pretty because you're used to the Boeing one, which is kind of used everywhere else, and yeah. Okay, so like you can see, like the LNAV algorithm is not quite there. It tends to overshoot turns a tiny bit, but we'll get there. That thing really climbs on. Taxi lights off, and we actually, you know what? It's doing better than it has before on the LNAV following. Blackbeard 95, I don't think I have that command, but my specs are a Mac Mini. It's the M1 Mac Mini with the, not gonna like the higher model, but that's it. Yeah, depending on wind, I guess just in it, but it's not like this. This is not a massive wind. But it should also be using the. It should also be using the. Oh my god. Cannot speak words today. It should be using the wind and the ground speeds to compute when to sequence, so it should be fine. Anyway, yes, as Virtual BD Pilot has reminded me, it's time for me to go make myself a cup of tea. I'll turn the camera off, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I am back, and running just in time as well because we're starting to overspeed. So you can see there's a little bit of nose wander that's due, well, partly to the yaw damper, which is not tuned at all, and also the prop controllers, which are a bit overeager. Okay, what we'll do, because mostly it gives me an excuse to drink my tea, like, calmly, is and also I want to test holds, we'll put in a hold at Rattenberg. And let's have a look at... I'm not sure on the rudder trim. I would have to ask pilots, actually. We're not doing anything specific for that for the moment. We're not trimming it ourselves. So it depends on the flight model, on how accurate the flight model is with the rudder. Okay, so let's have a look at the hold at Rattenberg. Open charts. Star, the Rattenberg through 1 Bravo, and then the approach is a log DME East. Okay, so Rattenberg got a hold. That's right turns, inbounds 225. And there's no timings given, so we're gonna assume it's a... Ooh, that's a sharp turn. Let's see how it does. Okay, and if we do arm hold, there we go. That's a direct entry. I guess it's at the very limit of what is considered an acceptable direct. Let's do... Do we want to force it to do a parallel? Let's do direct for now. Actually, no, let's do a parallel. I think they're still a bit messy, so we'll see how that works, but hey. This is why we're tests. Okay. Cool, so yes, we're going into Innsbruck. I'm going to try and brief... Actually, I might not be able to because, as we've seen, opening the browser is just about enough to make Streamlabs have a fit in terms of frame rates. So let's maybe avoid that. But I'll try and brief with, well, what we have. Actually, what I could do... It's going to be messy, but I could do screenshots of my tablet. This, and we're going to need approach circle to lands. Okay, and we're going to need to start reducing the speed for the holds. Yeah, we need to seriously reduce the speed for the hold. We're also going to start descending, so we want to be at 9,500 at Rattenberg. So we're going to do this, and we're going to go vertical speeds and do gentle descents. Alright, so parallel entry. So you can actually see right now the coming into play the issue with the having the two FMSs disconnected, right? So I've inserted a hold on this side, but it's not actually transmitted it to the other side. And that's how it works in the Q400. So let's see if I can send those files to my computer. That way we can actually do a briefing. Okay. Okay, so we're going to be flying the localizer. I'm just going to keep an eye on the speeds before we enter the hold, and then once we're established in the hold, I can speak a bit more. I'll use the hold as a planning situation. In 2 flaps position, latest Adwig. Really? Wait, okay. What's flaps 2 position? Do you mean flaps 10? Because flaps 10 means gear down normally in the Q400, doesn't it? Anyway, we're gonna be around 190 for our holding, and then we'll, yeah. Yeah, so I practiced the approach earlier, and I was fine leaving it to just flaps 5 for the lock, and around 8 DME start actually configuring. Actually, not even that. Staying in flaps 5 until you're on the parallel. Did I leave it to do? Yep, that is wrong. So it should not have done a power. It should not have done a direct entry. So that's something I'll have to check. Amazing. I'll write it down on the sides. Well, we'll let it do its direct entry then, which is going to be messy at this kind of entry angle. But anyway. $15 for gear down at Tango Zulu. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, let's do a briefing, shall we? So we're gonna do the localizer east into Innsbruck with the circling to land 08. We're gonna start platform altitude is 995. Incept the lock on heading 254 from Adwig to sorry. No. Good lord. So direct from Adwig to Rattenberg, and then intercept the localizer on course 254. So actually we're gonna, well, we'll set the course once we're in nav modes. What is the, that's 111.1, which is set twice. That's good. Let's see, do we have... Yep, we have a signal, so we're all good. Does it set? Careful about speeds. Be great if we didn't stall. That's an extremely sloppy entry, Jesus Christ. So slow. Okay. Anyway, descend on the localizer and the glide slope. We'll descend and level off at 3,700, which is our circling altitude, and then circling. So when we reach 4.2 DME from Oscar Echo Victor, which is the localizer, we'll break out on track 230. 230 until we overfly the power lines. At this point we'll go track 264, so essentially follow the power lines. We need to be careful and not turn too late because there's very high, very rapidly rising terrain to our left hand side. And then abeam the church, which should be around 3.5 DME. We'll do a descending turns. We need to start with 500 feet per minute pretty early on, and then we essentially go in a valley here. You just need to increase the rate of descent quite quickly. Make sure you don't end up too high on the final approach. We should be between 20 and 25 degree bank angle. For landing we'll use flaps 35, which gives us a VREF of 118. We'll fly the localizer on flaps 5, configure at actually no, stay on flaps 5. Once we're on the breakout for the circling, we'll configure flaps 15 gear down just after the turn, and just before the final turn we'll go flaps 35 and be configured for landing. That's about it. In terms of minima, well, in this case they're going to be 3,700, which is a circling altitude. What's the glide slope angle? It's 3.5 degrees, I believe. Good shout. I should really mention that when I do a briefing, shouldn't I? Huh? Can you tell I'm not a trained pilot? Do we have an actual glide slope angle indication anywhere? I believe it's 3.5, but I don't know if it's actually noted on this chart. It doesn't seem to be, does it? Oh, right here. 3.7. So that's gonna be fun. Yeah, so for the actual final that will fly, there'll be pappies because we're landing the other way around. But the initial glide slope is 3.7. I don't actually know if you're required to follow the glide slope if you're doing circling, but just in case, we'll do it. Bearing in mind that we have to make sure after the fact to switch back to vertical speed and then an arm alt select to make sure to capture the 3,700 platform altitude for the circling. It's not called a platform altitude, is it? Circling altitude. Okay, so after an incredibly sloppy hold entry, at least it's flying the hold relatively well. Yeah, that's a direct hold entry and a half. Wow, that sounds like an interesting approach. Is that Billy Bishop? Yankee to Tango Zulu? That's Toronto City, isn't it? Well, not Toronto. Yeah, Toronto. Right? So what we'll do is we'll tell the plane that we want to exit the hold the next time it flies over the fix, and that way I'll just proceed with the rest of the flights. Sorry, is my mic better now? This headset is a bit annoying. It kind of, if it's even just a bit away from my mouth, it gets really quiet really quickly, which is a problem when I drink tea because I tend to push it away. Cool, thanks. Okay, so... Oops, wrong knob. Right, what we'll do also is we'll make sure 420, so that's the NDB that we need for the circling, and we'll make sure it's set here. And because we've got Toto's amazing nav radio, we can actually ident everything, and it's nice signals and everything. It's beautiful. And saying that, there we go. Okay. So after that, we're gonna go on to that. What's the course? Course 207. So we'll do, because it's one of those planes that doesn't do transitions between modes for you, or at least not with all the versions of the FMS. We're gonna get ready to switch it to heading modes as soon as we sequence. RMUs, that's a good shout. I do not know who makes the RMUs. I don't think they're Honeywells. Like I think I know which Honeywell's unit you're thinking of. That's the ones that you see in the Embraer regional jets as well, and I think they're different. But I don't know who makes them. I think a lot of the avionics in the Q400 are Thales. Yeah, honestly, I couldn't say more than that. So we're going to go heading select because we're going to go nav source. There's 254, which is the right course. And we'll go and arm. For now, just nav. Actually, let's go approach. Yep, you have them in the Learjet 45 as well. That's a good shout. Did I not turn that off? Oh, I turned on VHF2. That's why. Yeah, Lib Radio really makes radio navigation a lot nicer in the sim. Okay, so we'll actually amendments to the briefing, which is really not how you should do these things. We're gonna descend on flap 0 for now, and when we reach 8 DME, we'll configure flaps 5. And we should intercept now. There we go. Yeah, so that's another thing that's a bit sloppy still. It's my localizer intercept code, which is a bit shallow, as you can see. Come on, sweetie. I need to tune this because it is not tuned properly. Where is it? Yeah, this is not right. Hey Jeffrey. Thanks for following. Yes, that's an overshoot. That's not great. You can see the yoke is not having a good time with it. Yeah, no. CRJ is like a completely different. Well, you can see it if you've been following Hotstart's CL55 developments, CL650 developments. It's like all Collins Pro line everywhere. So 3,700. The GPWS is not happy because it's a bit buggy. Is there a bank limiter? There is not a half bank mode like you have on some autopilots. There's limits in the software of what they call the flight guidance module, the FGM. But they're hard coded. You can't change them in like during flights. Why are we still having the audio come through? Oh, yeah, because I clicked the wrong button. There we go. So we are on the localizer east's approach into Innsbruck, and we're gonna break out and do a circling approach to 08. Lovely weather in Innsbruck, as per. Actually, I should reset my roaming. Well, I should set my arrow setting. That's also probably the idea, isn't it? 1019. So yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it? Then that's 700. If at that altitude we are visual winning. Well, let's hope we can actually see the runway. Assume we're cleared on the approach, so we'll set this. 11 DME. Presets of breakouts. Heading here. Got a tailwind, so I'll have to get less. I was indeed drinking my tea. Apologies. 9 DME, descending slowly into the valley. Some interesting weather too. What am I forgetting for landing? We should probably be running and at least engine anti-ice, shouldn't we, with the weather that we have? Is that the buttons? I don't know. I really need to actually learn to fly this plane before we release. Right, 8 DME, we're going to start configuring flaps 5. That'll allow us to be a bit slower on the circling and have a bit more time to see what we're doing. We're also going to switch, once we're stabilized in that mode, we'll go to VS. Yep. We will go to VS. Actually, let's go vertical speed now. I'll select to make sure we level off. Some interesting terrain explained. Well done. Hopefully that loads before we get there. Oh, I'd love that, Happy Pappy. That'd be a fun thing to do, actually, yeah. Thanks. And we're visual, so everything is fine and dandy. Okay. So, from there, so remember, we're going to take 230, which is going to take us that way. We'll have power lines, we'll follow then this way, essentially stay on that plateau, and at the last moment turn around and come back. Oh, and this is... I am late already. Oh, this is going great. No, I don't have Orbex for Innsbruck. This is... Well, actually, no, it's not stock scenery, it's ex-Europe. Normally I have better ground scenery, because I can actually run with a pretty high, like, object density, but with Streamlabs running in the background, it's having an absolute stroke, so... No fancy objects today. Yeah, this is not great scenery, sadly. I'll try to go, because OBS actually has a hardware encoder, which is a lot nicer. I don't know why I decided to try Streamlabs today, and I don't think it was worth it, but oh well. So power lines, you can see there's one of the pylons here. We need to turn before them, because at least with that terrain, if we turn over them, we're on that hill. So we're going to go heading 264 when we turn. And you can see the power lines here. Right, we're going to turn now. 264. You can see, yeah, perfect. We've got the power lines right here. That's exactly where we want to be. Cool. So I've not looked into Stream Elements, but I do not believe it works on Mac. Yeah, so you can see I turn even a bit late, and we've got that terrain that's like very, very close to the... Okay, we're gonna go gear down, flaps 15. Reduce 10p landing. Oh, clearly that didn't work. Let's try again. Oh yeah, that's because I'm too high a power setting. There we go, reduce 10p, bleed minimum. I know, sweetie, I know, terrain. And we're with 3.5 DME. We'll do our last turn. We'll do is we'll disconnect now, get rid of the flight directors, and go flaps 35. And careful not to climb too much with the bubble. There we go. Okay, so you can see it's that essentially like that hole in the mountain that we need to fly into, and we need to be banked harder than that. And this is really hard to do without some kind of a track IR or stuff like that, because that's the altitude alerter. We're fine. Stay around 1,000 feet a minute, not more if you can avoid. And look at that. Well, 1 red, 3 whites, I'll take it. Again, not a trained pilot and all that. Just putting all the excuses out now for the probably horrendous landing that you're about to get. Be careful about my speed too. It's getting a bit low. I'm getting a bit high. Oh boy. Yeah, the higher is better than lower, that's true. But I mean, with the runway that short as well, you don't want to be too high, because... although, I mean, the Q4 has margin when it comes to stopping distance, but... what I'm really not used to with this plane is that every time you add power when you've got the flaps out, you bubble like crazy because, well, you've got massive props blowing the flaps, but... let's try to not float it all the way down the runway. I will take it. Here we go. Welcome to Innsbruck. Gonna get flaps up. This goes to put on this. I forgot to set the PTU and auxiliary hydraulics, but oh well. This is where you really want a first officer, huh? Okay, we're gonna feather number 2. Oh boy, it's not happy with the frame rates. Anyway, welcome to Innsbruck. Shared flight, yeah, that's something I really want to make sure we implement properly in the FMS, Justin. I'll get in touch like as soon as I've got something a bit more stable and a bit more finished, and then we can like have a look. What am I forgetting? Your damper can come off. This can off as well. There we go, those classic one-engine taxi-ins. And we'll go for this one, let's see. And give me a GPU when I connect, will you? Okay, we're in. This goes to feather for 30 seconds. Which is fine anyway, because we're gonna have to wait for the GPU to connect. This is in min, this can go off. Is this off now? Yeah. Yeah, GPU's coming. Right? Yes, connecting GPU. Yeah, nose chocks on are on. Like you can see, like they've just been put on. And they'll come here with the GPU in a second, normally. There we go. And start, we are more than 30 seconds in feather, so we can... And we are in Innsbruck. We can... There you go. Ta-da! Well, I hope that was entertaining. Actually, soon. Stop spinning. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm not in a rush or anything, so if anyone's got questions, I can try and answer things. Can't guarantee I'll be able to answer everything, but I mean, shoot and we'll have a look. You know what? I'm pretty happy with that ground track, actually. I should probably have done a replay earlier, because I don't think we've implemented it with the rest of the stuff, so yeah. Thanks, Happy. That makes sense. Yeah, so Yeah, obviously you'd want like some kind of like confirmation that the GPU has been plugged in. You wouldn't go like on a hunch of seeing like, oh, there's a GPU cart outside, let's go. Because, yeah. Sorry, Jeffrey. We can attempt to replay, but because we've not we've definitely not done that system yet. That means that the stairs and all that will probably still be out. So if we get all of it closed, we might be able to. We need to wait till it's done with that. Hello. Is it not wanting to close this? There we go. Disconnect GPU and undo parking brakes. So let's see if they'll let us do a replay without completely balking itself. Hey, that kind of worked. Well, you know, except for the flaps, but... Oh, it is not happy in the cockpit. Oh no, the flaps are actually coming out. Justin, that's a good question. I don't know. That would be a question for Jack. Jack, I don't know if you're still on in the chat, but that's a good question. I'm not sure. Happy. Oh yeah, the retractable air stairs at the back. Is that not a default thing then? Let's go to the actual touchdown. Yeah, I'm sure that would facilitate things quite a lot. I have been able to do boarding and deboarding from both sides. Oh, that's a very high flare, but oh well. There you go. Welcome to Innsbruck. Let's see if we can do the replay from the... There we go. That makes sense. Okay, yeah. So do you have some kind of like lift then to actually lift people up there if they're in a wheelchair? Yeah, that makes sense, because I guess if there's air stairs in the way, it kind of prevents a view of gear from window. Sure. Let's go. Oh god. If the computer doesn't like give up on me frame rate wise before that. That's a good question, Pom. I do find it slightly odd, but that would be Jack's side of thing. But I'm sure if you ask Jack, he'll let you know. So can we see the gear down? Oh, that's some clippage. Yeah, replay is not happy with the gear, clearly. It's probably something to do with the hydraulic simulation. Oh, and the door don't open in replay either. Great. Well, sorry Justin, there was a bit of a letdown in terms of replay, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, that was... Oh god, what is that alarm? Never mind. But yeah, that was that. Any other questions? Fire away. Otherwise, feel free to ask them on Discord. I think there might be. Let me try something. If I do... Oh hey, look at this. This works. Yeah, the sub loses sounds, I think, on replay, but hey. Reggie82, this is the Flight JSIM Q4XP. That's what we're working on. I'm working on the FMS. And yeah, Jack and other folks are working on the rest of the systems and the modeling and the flight model and everything. And it is not out yet. So, hoping to finish it soon. But yeah, new one. Can we get like a nice... Actually, what if we got... Can we get the wheel in view from here? Oh, let's go one seat forward then. Now we can do this as kind of like the last... Bit too far. There we go. Good quick one is Charlie Yankee, so that's Billy Bishop to... What's Oscar Whiskey? I forget. But yeah, like next time I do like one of these, we can do that. We can go to Canada. Yeah, Reggie. I mean, well, the old one. I wasn't working on the old one at all. I just joined up for the FMS portion of this a couple of years ago now. But yeah, I mean, the old one is also dated. It's just been out for a very long time, so there's a point where it's, yeah. Oh, Greek island hopping is a good idea. That's a good shout. That's a very good point. Yeah, there's a bunch of fun ones. Skiathos is one of them. Can we... that was a dash landing. Thanks, Virtual BD Pilot. Ooh, that sounds like a fun one, Austrian Aviation. Let's do something. If you... For the people who are in the Discord, I'll create a thread in the main channel, and y'all can put route suggestions, and next time I do a stream, I'll pick one from there. Does that sound good? Could be fun to see, like, go see a bit more of the worlds in the dash. Yeah, and hopefully, like, once I'm getting into VNAV soon, so it'll be good to have some testing of VNAV in flights. So yeah. Anyway, if there's no more questions, I'm gonna log off now. But thank you for joining. Thank you for your questions and your encouragement. It was really nice to do this nice flight. Yeah, Sion, Lima Sierra Golf Sierra is a good one too. But yeah. Anyway, nice to talk to you all. Are there military variants? I think they exist. I don't believe we're modeling them. No, we're not modeling them. At least not as far as I'm aware. Cool, good one for Ox. That's always a good thing to test. But yeah, right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for the question, the encouragements, and everything. And I'll probably do another one of these soonish. It'll be fun to do some more flying with you all. But yeah, thanks a lot. Bye bye.